I was in the transition assistance program. It is supposed to teach you how to transition into the civilian world, get a job, write resumes, how to prepare yourself, VA. But they also have a little thing like a little bit of a fear factor. Learning all this stuff about a big, scary world that you haven't been a part of for how many years? You barely even speak to anybody who isn't in the military. And you go out and you're supposed to build something for yourself when everything for the last couple of years was built for you to some degree. This program is just a pretty much like open the window, look how scary it is. There's so many monsters. Shut it. You sure you want to go out there? Oh, look at the monsters. You sure? You sure? And then they shut it again. And you could take taps like anytime during your career. So like you could do this at 15 years in, you could do this at 2 years in, and you don't want to separate till 4 years. But for this specific story, during transition assistance program, when I was in there, there was an individual who's been in for 23 years. I believe that he was a fire chief or he did something with fire. We all raised our hands and we were going down the list of, hey, what are you going to do when you get out? Or hey, do you have any questions about separating or like big fears or anything like that? Me, Mr. Nonchalant, just sat back. I didn't say anything too much. But the gentleman raised his hand and he said, I'm worried because I haven't known anything else but this since I got out of high school. I'm pretty sure he was like 40 something. He was a little bit older. 40 is not that old, but older than I was at the time. I was 22. You just gave your best years to the military and you're going to turn around and say to a program manager who's obviously speaking on behalf of the military that you don't know what you're going to do. You just spent all that time, and you're going to get out and say, I don't know. He has 20 something years to consider what the next step is. And this guy's in the class of the final stages of his career saying, I don't know. Sure, he might get a pension, which is like 60% of your base pay of whatever you retire as. But brother, that's not going to cover it. We're talking about people working 4 jobs to get by. Your 60% base pay is probably around $3,000 a month. And trust me, if you had all this comfortability in the military, he probably built himself a splendid lifestyle. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Brazzers. He probably has a brand new car that he couldn't afford and he's somehow getting by. He probably has a wife that likes to go shopping. He probably has kids now. And you're saying, I don't know. You just had how many years to figure something out? Going through the motions back and forth, put yourself into a situation where you might be royally fucked. Shit's hitting the fan and you have to make it work. And if you haven't done that since you were in high school, buddy, you're in for a rude awakening. I gotta add another story in here. I was security forces. I was in South Korea, stationed there on the government's dime, right? In a beautiful country with beautiful people, an amazing culture. Absolutely love South Korea. Had a fantastic time. I was E4 at the time, and I was stationed with another airman. Shouldn't have been an airman. He's been in 8 years. At this time, I was approaching my 3.5 year mark or something, so I was an E4. The point is we were at post one day, and while we're sitting at post, as security forces does, sitting, keyword sitting all the time, nonstop. Of course, we're chatting, and he's been in 8 years, same rank, and I'm on the end of my 4 year contract, and I'm ready to get out. And I asked him a simple question of, what's your plan, man? You know, you haven't made staff yet. I said that in a nicer way, but you haven't made staff yet, and why are you still in here? Don't you want to do something? Clearly, you don't enjoy this, or like you haven't made staff to promote. Like, there's nothing going on outside of this to promote or go farther in your career. And he says to me, there's nowhere else I can get paid this good for scrolling on TikTok all day long for 8 to 10 hours. Now, with that being said, sure, damn, that guy's right. But he's 30 years old and has a daughter. And you say to a 21 to 22-year-old kid who's asking you, why are you doing this? Keep in mind, I already built my $100,000 wholesale business while in the military. That's going to be another video. He says to me that he can't do anything else but scroll TikTok, and this is the easiest cake shit ever. You have a daughter to take care of, and this is what you strive for. You strive for this. Keep in mind, this guy, he also would play video games at night. Why? You know what? I'm not even going to put it on him to why he's acting like this. It's because he flew by the seat of his pants in the military because everything is provided for you. If motherfuckers got caught scrolling TikTok, I worked at a Toyota sales. There's been guys who got caught plenty enough on time on their phones as a sales rep to get the boot. All you have to be a sales rep at fucking Toyota is you have to have a brain to get in. And that someone else was scrolling too much on their phone or always on their phone that they got the fucking boot. So if you're in the military, the United States military, scrolling on the government's dime, carrying a loaded weapon, and getting all of your expenses paid for, that shit is going to create the definition of comfortable. And you can't argue with me that that's not. Outside of the stories, veterans do earn more after service, higher household income. It's the only place that you can walk in with nothing. I mean, people trying to get their green cards or trying to survive in the world, join the military, and come out a completely different person. I was one of them. I'm not going to go into like a long story here, but I was 18. I was a knucklehead kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do until 2 months after I already graduated high school, and I enlisted and got in and got the fuck up out of there. I was in West Virginia with nothing. There was nothing there for me. I had horrible people around me making horrible decisions, and I went in and did a 180. My God, dude, not only am I just came out bald with a beard, but I built 2 different businesses while I was in the military. And on top of that, I have my associates. I could have went to school longer. There's nowhere else in the world where it turns you into someone, hopefully, that is a better version of the person you were before you joined. Just imagine a door frame and homeless Joe Bob walks through in a raggedy ass t-shirt with no underwear on, and he comes through the other door and he's flexing a nice ass suit, and he just did a 180 and he has a haircut and he's got a pep in his step. It just creates this crazy opportunity that no other job really does. Most jobs say, oh, you need experience, or you need that, or you need this. The government takes you from 0 and puts you up to 110. No training before. You get the training after you've already got accepted. And most of the time, if you're not special warfare or anything like that, you're going to make it through your training to get that amazing position. I'm not a recruiter or anything like that, and I made a compare and contrast here of the good side of it and the bad side of it. But if you are struggling out there, I would do the military. I would do it. It was a huge stepping stone for me. I want to make a whole nother video of that too. It was a huge stepping stone for me and where I am today, because I took that structure and that lifestyle and the travel and a little bit of the comfortability, because I needed it at the age that I joined, and I turned it into something that was better for me. I made my own version of that machine, my own structure, my own stability, because I had the benefits of the military. Think about these things as you're transitioning or you're in the military, of there is eventually an outside world that you have to come back to, and I want you to be set up for success, and I don't want you to be hit with the freight train of reality that the world is not the same as it was in the 50s, where you could provide for your family with one job. Okay? Take advantage of the time while you're in, make the most of it, and the people you're around, and get out with a plan. And if you're joining and you want to spend your time in there, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people need a break from just trying to survive all the time. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.